So I have a question for you. How many times has a top 10 pick made the playoffs in their first season? It's probably happened quite a few times. I'm too lazy to go check. But there's a chance that it could happen this season with Emmanuel Quickly. We drafted him number 9, and I'm putting it on the table right now. The goal for us this season is to make the playoffs, which you think would be super difficult, but once we take a look at the bottom teams in the West last year, I don't think it's ridiculous. The 8th seed Portland Trailblazers got in there with 38 victories, and if you look at the teams underneath them, they were in the mid to high 30s as well. Now, why did the Blazers win only that many games? I don't know. I mean, maybe Damian Lillard was being defended by Drew Holiday the entire season. That's a possibility. I hope Drew figures it out, or I hope Damian figures it out in real life. But they also have a couple of young wings. They have Jared Vanderbilt at small forward, a guy who we almost drafted in a previous MyGM. He's a small forward who's a good ball handler, not the best scorer. They have Pascal Siakam, who I'm sure is good defensively, but on offense, his three-point shot is not developed. So it's kind of tough to score when those two are playing such high minutes at your small forward and power forward positions. Could be a reason why they haven't been able to win as many games, and if we're going to get in there, then I think we're going to have to deal with these Blazers. If we look at the team underneath them, there's the Memphis Grizzlies, who won 36 games. I mean, how old is Marc Gasol at this point? 34, 35 years old. He could just fall off a cliff out of nowhere, which I will gladly accept if it means that we can get into the postseason. I have to talk about Marc Gasol for another 6 seconds, so I don't know. Shout out to him for the weight loss. Who else is on this Grizzlies team? There's Jaren Jackson Jr., who may end up becoming my favorite player once he's drafted in real life, because he's basically Al Horford, but more athletic. So that's cool. As far as how many wins he's going to provide for the Grizzlies right now, I don't know. It's his second season. Then there's the Pelicans underneath those two teams. Anthony Davis doing his thing. I don't really know why they have only won that many games. I mean, you got AD, Boogie, and Drew Holiday. Those three together should give you quite a few wins, but I don't know. 2K is going to 2K, I guess. They have a couple interesting role players. Number 1, they got Troy Daniel. Shout out to him. It seems he found himself in a situation that makes sense on paper, just spreading the floor for the rest of the team and the two big guys. But they also have a really good young guy in Michael Bridges, I believe his name is. He's kind of like a 3-and-D athletic wing, and he'll be coming in the draft this year in real life, and just seems like a good piece of a team, and they need a good small forward. If that's our competition, though, I think there's a chance that we can get in there. Let's get back to Emmanuel Quickly, who is not going to be starting for a very elaborate reason, which is he's young as hell. And there's your reason. Also because I think our best bet to win may be going with a more defense-first lineup. I said defense really weird there, but whatever. I wanted to say defensive, but then I chopped off the civ part. But I mean, Quickly's still getting a solid 18 minutes a game. He and Brandon Knight are going to be playing about the same amount of minutes. Well, honestly, I mean, Beverly's playing like 22, 23 minutes, and then Knight and Quickly are both around like 18 to 20. But I feel like Knight, especially, can slide over to the 2-guard spot, so it shouldn't be that bad. The reason Beverly's starting, the defense thing, of course, we have quite a few defensive players in our starting lineup at this point, and I think that's probably our best way to scrape in as many wins as possible. And I think it's maybe time to expect Devin Booker to be one of those defensive players. I mean, it's what, our 3rd season now? It's about to be the 3rd year, or technically, we played the tail end of 1 year. We played the entirety of last year. I guess our 2nd and half season? I don't know. But his defense has become at least respectable at this point, you know? His on-ball defense, his pick-and-roll defense is good. He's got to get better at the other things. I nearly stumbled over my words there, but we've recovered, unlike the dude who just lost the ball there. But at this point, like, Devin Booker should be a average or maybe even above average defender, so that should be a good thing, right? We can't be having bad defenders all over the floor, so that's good. Bam is starting day 1. I think Tyson Chandler retired, actually. And hopefully Bam can just do his thing. I mean, towards the end of last season, he was grabbing a lot of really good rebounds for us, and defensively, we were better when he was in the game. And hopefully he can just do enough offensively in terms of rolling to the rim and all that. Josh Jackson at the power forward position, who can switch among a few positions. Look, if you're comparing the best player on some of those other teams, like Lillard is probably better than Booker, and Anthony Davis is better than Devin Booker. But I think the collective that we have going on, the game plan that we have, which is going to be defense and running, I think we got a shot here. Now, one thing we got to pay attention to for that defense is Mitchell Robinson off the bench, who didn't even really win the backup job from Marquise Chris a couple years ago, or 1 year ago. It's just Bam became available, so then that forced our hands pretty much. That might be a move that we make where we just get a better backup center. It's going to depend on what Robinson has going for him. As far as his offense is concerned, just finish around the rim pretty much. And if we're going to talk about offense a little bit more, Dražen Bender definitely matters. His three-point percentage last year was not the best. It was like under league average to end the year. Not good. Hopefully those threes just go in a bit more this season. His open three-pointer is in the 80s at this point, so it should be able to drop. And then besides that, we expect improvement from Michael Porter Jr. I mean, that game at the end of the season against the Bulls, where it seemed like Lauri Markkanen was going to stop him in his tracks, but somehow the animation just never ended for him going to the basket. He should be good, man. He should be putting up some points this season. He put up 16 a game last year for us, so just a bigger role for him. But I do want to add an extra layer to the offense, which is, I don't know if you'd call it swing offense or motion offense or whatever, but diving into 2K's very inconsistent playbook and finding just a few more options for Michael Porter Jr. to get him some more seams to the rim, some more open jump shots. Not as many just give him the ball and have him just figure it out sort of plays, you know? Just make the offense a little bit more difficult. And if we're going to start doing that, then we're going to do the same thing to Devin Booker as well. I mean, both of these guys are going to be moving off the ball a little bit more. I mean, Booker will have the ball in his hands more often. And I should have shot that three-pointer, but I wanted to throw it to Josh Jackson. For the sake of demonstration, I guess. I don't know. I like what we have going on. We are still a pretty young team, but I think there's been enough internal improvement. I like the pick of Quickly. And according to 2K, we're the 16th best team in the league, which is right in the middle of the playoff race. So we'll see what happens. I think at least contending for the playoffs and maybe barely missing out would still be considered a success. But I do think we have a chance to get in there.